set up the translation channels.
Send us to our room, please.
Unfortunately, the way that the webinar was created, it didn't allow for breakout rooms. So I am really, really sorry, but I am not going to be able to send our translators into their rooms. We will get, I'm sorry, I'm unable to do that. So what we will do, however, is
Hold
this
on,
video.
hold on.
I see it there.
Yeah, I
Oh.
see that I can be assigned.
Set up. Just a second, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin. I didn't know you were
Perfect.
still there.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna see you anymore because I already have the assignment to go in the room. So I'm gonna say okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, me too, right now. Okay, it says Armenian. Այո, հիմա ես մտնում եմ իմ սենյակը, խնդրում եմ գլոբուսի վրա սեղմել հայերեն եւ կլսեք ամեն ինչ հայերեն։
And Nuria, do you want to go ahead and just re-advise people how to get to the translation channel, please?
She's in her room.
Okay, great. So we both have Anna and Nuria in their translation rooms. And so if you'd like to access Armenian or Spanish, you have that ability, that capability to. You can also turn on closed captioning if you choose to do so. And once again, we are recording. I want to remind everyone that this meeting is a general meeting. It's not specific to any particular school site. So anything that you have specific questions about, I want to refer those, I'm going to ask you to refer those over to the school and the school principals because they have specifics about their schools. And once again, this is a general meeting. And every now and then I'm going to pause because I'm going to be pausing for our translators. I want to remind everybody too, because this is a general meeting, that you may have personal specific questions regarding your child or what's going on at your particular school. And once again, I'm going to ask that you contact the school principal when it comes to your individual personal questions, or you can always email me, and my email address will be at the end on the very last slide too. So once again, if you have personal questions, private questions, I'm going to ask that you not post those in the Q&A, but you can refer those to the principal or to me. Okay. Next slide. Once again, thank you all for being here. So once again, this is an amazing journey. It's a multi-year process where we're educating our students. I know that I started school in 1963 and I've been around for a little bit while, probably before many of you were born, but I enjoyed my elementary years and my educational years too. And I still enjoy what I'm doing too after all these years. So been around for a little while. Next slide. Starting TK in kindergarten is really an emotional challenge for some children. And anything you can do to go ahead and prepare your child for school, for TK or for kindergarten would be very, very helpful. One of the things I want to point out, like on the second bullet there, is that we asked that if you want to tour your school, that you could do that. One huge change this year is that the tours are going to be virtual. We're not having anyone come to the school at this point in time because of the COVID pandemic. And so the tours will be virtual. And all the school tours will be posted on the school's individual website. And if you can't find it on the website, you can always go ahead and call the school. And then that third bullet there talks about open house. And once again, because of the pandemic, open house may be in a different format this school year. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of put a little pause on that for right now about information about that. It will be posted on the school's websites and or the district website too. So once again, unfortunately, COVID is having a big impact on us. As I mentioned earlier today, as I started out my day too. Anything you can do to get your child ready for school is helpful. And another one is to have a routine for bedtime. And it takes quite a while to get children down to sleep at a regular routine time, but anything you can do to go ahead and continue that routine and get them into the habit, that would be very, very good. But I know it's rough, to get kids down to bed at night. Okay. And then the last bullet on this page talks about summer or spring orientation meetings. And once again, they probably are going to be virtual. I don't know that for a fact right now. That's a long way off, but we'll see what happens down the road. But I would plan for a virtual one. And every school has a kindergarten orientation meeting, either in the spring or the summertime. You can always call the school or email the school and find out more information. On the next slide, there's things you can do, and you're probably already doing them academically for your child in preparation for TK or kindergarten. One of the major ones is having your child know their first name and know their last name. I always tell the story, that, I taught kindergarten my first year teaching, and I would ask children their names, and they would say their name is Sissy or Bubba or something, and that wasn't really their name because I didn't know that the parents called them Sissy or Bubba. And here I'm trying to call them John or Sarah, whatever, and no response and those kind of things. So it's really important that children learn their first and last name. It's also for safety purposes too. And along those safety lines too, while I'm thinking about it, we should also teach not only your children their first name and their last name, help them to remember their address, to learn their address and their phone number. That's always a good thing to do. I know for me, I always tell the story. I still remember my address from when I was 5, 6 years old, and I still know my phone number from when I was 5, 6 years old. And it's something that is really important that children know their first name, last name, their address, and their phone number. It's also important that if you have an opportunity, you don't have to do this, it's just a suggestion to have children learn the alphabet, learn capital letters, know a little bit about what words are and lowercase letters. And so if you've already been doing that, that's wonderful. You don't have to do it, but it's really a good practice to go ahead and have them learn those letters as well as numbers too. Another suggestion towards the end there talks about having children work with crayons and how to hold a pencil and how to hold scissors and those kind of things. And so anything you can do to help children along those lines would be a good, strong suggestion too, because we do have a number of students that come to us that don't know about how to hold crayons or pencils or scissors properly. So anything you can do to help, instead of holding it like in a fist, we want to teach them how to hold them properly. But once again, if it's going to be a struggle and some kind of pushback from your child or anything, don't get into an argument with them. It's not worth it. We'll work through it. And that's about it. Next one. On our next slide, it talks about, there we go, just a minute. There we go. Talks about some concepts that we need to teach children, things such as big, little, tall, short, up, down, over and under, counting numbers to 10 or even to 20, maybe what numbers mean. And then we have those kindergarten words too. And then those are common words that we have in kindergarten. So we make certain that they're on the website, on both the school website and on the district website, so that you have access to it. Once again, it's not something you have to do, but it's something that if you have downtime and you're driving in the car or something and you want to go ahead and, review letters, numbers, concepts, big, little, tall, short, or words, that's very, very helpful. On the next slide, once again, this is a general schedule for kindergarten. And you can see there, this just shows what the kindergarten schedule is like. And then the TK schedule would be similar to that. However, TK hours are 8:30 to 1:30. And that's something that's been tradition here in the school district. Okay. On the next slide, we do follow the California state standards. for all of our subject areas. And so when we do teach students in TK and kindergarten, we teach them concepts about print, things like how to follow words, like in a book, from left to right, from top to bottom, and then from page to page. We teach children about how to recognize uppercase and lowercase letters, rhyming words. We talked a little bit about high frequency words. And then in that second column there, we'll be teaching them how to write sentences, how to capitalize letters, punctuation, and other forms of language there too. On the next slide, we teach math skills. And once again, this is this general kind of introduction information. We teach about counting and how to compare numbers. We teach a little bit about addition and subtraction in kindergarten and TK. We teach place value. We teach measurement and data. And we also teach concepts about geometry too. On the next slide, following the California state standards, we teach the three areas of science: physical science, earth science, and life science. And within that, oftentimes classrooms do experiments or investigations too. On the next slide, another area we cover is things in social science, social studies, such as citizenship, or recognizing national and state symbols, such as the United States flag, the California flag, the Statue of Liberty, a symbol such as the bald eagle. We talk about the days of the week, the months of the year, and then significant people in history and events. And so they'll have like special celebrations for holidays, as you probably well know from your kindergarten experience too. On the next slide, it talks about another suggestion that we do like children to go ahead and have their belongings labeled. And those are some suggestions. Oftentimes children lose things at school, and I'm going to just encourage you to please feel comfortable in contacting the school, looking at the schools lost and found, and hopefully a child's sweater or jacket will turn up, because those things do cost money, as we all know, and we do want to get them back to the proper owners and those kind of things. So please feel comfortable in checking out the lost and found and having children have their belongings back with them. On that second bullet, it talks about purchasing clothing with independence in mind. So we'd like to have children be able to snap or zip or button or buckle, how to tie their shoes. And so anything you can do along those lines to help children to be self-sufficient, that would be very, very helpful. And then also backpacks are allowed, but try not to get them the too big heavy-duty size backpacks, or ones with wheels and those kind of things. On the next slide, a little bit about drop off and pickup. It's a school site decision. So I know that when they do their orientation meetings, and maybe you have children already at the school, you're aware of drop off and pickup procedures. And then we all of our schools close our gates a little bit after 8:30. So you need to be aware of that, and then open them up in the afternoons too. We do allow for volunteering. During COVID, it's a little bit tighter. We will be returning to more normal processes for volunteering at some point in time, but you can see there are those kind of things that are required: vaccination, TB test, and a volunteer clearance. And of course, we always want everyone to always go through the school office and check in with the school office before going on to campus. So that was just a little bit of background about the state standards and things we can do as a family to go ahead and prepare our students for preparation for TKK. I want to remind everybody that the slides to this presentation are on the district website. So if you go to the front page, the home page of the school district, and you scroll down a little bit, about halfway down, you saw probably the invite to this meeting, and then it'll direct you to a page where these PowerPoint slides are in English, in Spanish, and in Armenian. At this point in time, I'm turning it over to the also another important aspect to our presentation this evening, and that's all the guidelines and rules and laws related to ages for entrance and enrollment, those kind of things. And I'm going to turn it over to Melinda Dreschler. She works in student services, and she's highly aware, and she's a former office manager too, and she's highly aware of all these procedures. So Melinda, I'll turn it over to you at this point.
Thank you, Dr. Knopik.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm having trouble advancing my slide again. Hang on. There we go. Welcome, everybody. I do want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A, because we aren't able to do raised hands and a lot of stuff in the chat. That way, if we don't answer your question tonight or want to get you more information, the Q&A actually gives us your email address so that we can respond to you. So for transitional kindergarten, things are a little bit different this year. Our program was expanded. Our program used to run from September 2nd through December 2nd, from when your child had to turn 5 to be eligible for transitional kindergarten. It has been expanded this year, and so students need to turn 5 between September 2nd and February 1st. So it gives actually students who turn 5 in January and February and beginning of February and December a chance to actually go to TK this year, okay? We also have a program called Extended Transitional Kindergarten. Those are for students that turn 5 between February 2nd and May 24th. But they must be students who are identified as an English learner, a family in transition or homeless family, a foster youth, or a family that qualifies for free and reduced lunch. It is a special government-funded program for us, okay? And applications for that can be filled out and turned into instructional services. For extended transitional kindergarten, please do not enroll your student until you fill out an application, turn it in, and get it approved. For transitional kindergarten and kindergarten on up, enrollment starts this year, January 24th. To start kindergarten, your student must be 5 by September 1st. I have often gotten questions from people whose child turns 5 September 2nd or 3rd, and they want to put them in kindergarten instead of TK, but we do go in accordance with California guidelines, and we will enroll them in accordance with age, okay? To start first grade, your student must have been born on or before September 1st, 2016. They have to turn 6 by September 1st to go to first grade. Online registration. All of our registration is done through an online process. You will do the first step of registration using the district website and inputting basic information such as name, address, emergency contacts, things of that nature. You will also have the opportunity to upload your supporting documentation that will be needed to enroll your child. If you can't upload your documents, you can complete the first part on the district website and then contact your school site and email the documents that are needed to enroll your child, which we'll go over in a minute. If you do not reside in the Burbank School District, but you work in the Burbank School District 10 hours or more, your child could go to a Burbank school, but you need to apply for an interdistrict permit beginning March 2nd and be approved before you enroll. So if you are not a Burbank resident, please wait until March 2nd to apply for a permit. We also have what we call an intra-district permit. When you enroll your student online, you will be enrolling them into what we call your school of residence. It's the closest elementary school to where you live. You will have to do that first before you would ask to have them go to a different school. If you are a Burbank resident and you want your student to go to a different school, you would apply for an intra. The difference is it ends in A, you're already here. You would apply for an intra-district permit, and those will not begin, those applications, until February 22nd. And you have to be enrolled in your resident school before you would even apply for that permit. I know it's complicated. There is a lot of information on the district website, and tomorrow I will be adding even more information on 22-23 enrollment to the district website for your review.
I'm going to go ahead and give Melinda a pause for a minute, and just to share with everyone that we do plan on having TK at Bret Harte this coming school year. We do plan on having TK at Jefferson this coming school year. So once again, there's 2 more schools we're adding to the TK. The new law for TK is allowing for us to go ahead and expand transitional kindergarten, and it's over a 3-year period of time. So we did go ahead and we added additional months through February now, beginning of February, and then we're going to, in the following year, what is that, 23, 24, we'll be adding a few more months to that year. Okay. There's a question also about an online option for kindergarten and probably TK too. We're waiting for the state of California to come out with the law and with the new regulations and requirements for TKK for online. And so I can't get into detail about it because I have no information. I just know that the governor proposed to go ahead and to continue it in some form or fashion. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what the requirements are. I have no information at this point in time. So once we do, we will share that information out. But in the meantime, we do want everyone to enroll in their school site. And then once we have more information, we'll share that out.
Thank you, Dr. Knopik.
I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. There are some additional documents that will be required to go with your online enrollment application. First one is proof of residency, which is your most recent utility bill. It has to be Burbank Water and Power or SoCal Gas. If you've recently moved and do not have a bill yet, you can get a pink slip from Burbank Water and Power, and that will take the place of your initial bill, and you can get us a bill when you receive it. We cannot accept cable bills, cell phone bills, or anything like that. We could take a landline phone. If any of you still have them, we will take that bill, but we have to have a utility bill that is current in order to establish residency. If you live with someone else, that's okay. We need a copy of their utility bill, their picture ID, and something in writing from them, or our family with another family form filled out by them to attest that you live with them to show proof of residency. So there's the 2 options. We also need proof of age, which 9 times out of 10 is your child's birth certificate or a passport. If you can't find your child's birth certificate, this happens sometimes, you can provide something else like a hospital certificate or something for 30 days to at least get them enrolled, and then supply us with a birth certificate or other legal form of proof of age. Okay. Immunization records. We do need children to have all of their state required immunizations before we're allowed to enroll you. So if you complete online enrollment and you have everything, but your child is not current on immunizations, we're not going to be able to enroll you. Please don't get frustrated with your staff at your district schools. It's California law and they have not changed it for COVID. So just do the best you can and work with your school site. But COVID vaccine is not a required immunization, but the state of California does have several that are required. Your normal childhood vaccinations are required. And then we need a photo ID from your parent so that we can make sure to match that you are the parent of your child. If you are a legal guardian or if you are a caregiver for a child, you need to come through student services for us to validate that information before you can enroll in your school site. Your enrollment is not considered complete until we have all of that information. Students are placed in school in order of enrollment, but they're placed in order of complete enrollment. California immunization records for students in TK through 12th grade can be found at shotsforschool.org, or you can always look at the district website, and those requirements on the student services page are there for immunizations, residency, and everything else if you go to that department. If you have questions about immunizations or your child's current status, you can always contact your school of residence and talk to the nursing staff. That's your best bet.
Melinda, you may have said this. Are digital
Okay.
copies allowed for documentation on vaccinations,
Pardon me?
immunizations?
I'm sorry? I didn't
Are-
hear you.
Are digital copies allowed? Electronic
Yes,
copies?
especially like Kaiser, they like to print off, big computer printouts of your immunizations and everything. It doesn't have to be the California yellow card. It just has to be something from the doctor's office with the doctor's stamp and signature on it. Home language survey. Once your enrollment is completely finished, you will be asked to fill out a home language survey. This is to help us identify those students that might need additional support with English language. Also, it helps us with communications if there is a different language spoken in the home for things that we send out from a district perspective. Okay, it is to give you support. It is not to pry or try and get personal information. Do you have anything else on the home language survey, Dr. Konopik?
I just want to share that we are required to provide the home language survey. It's a requirement of the state and federal government. And so we do ask that everyone complete that. And we use that information to go ahead and to help us to better communicate with the families in their primary language. Typically it's Armenian and Spanish in our district. So we do try to provide that service. And then also with the home language survey on the next slide, it talks about the 4 questions that are on the home language survey. Which language did your child first begin to speak? And that has to do with when they first began talking. Which language does your child most frequently speak at home? And once again, in that little description over there to the right, which language do they use most of the time at home? And once again, we're just trying to understand the language of your child. Which language do you, the parents or the guardians, most frequently use when speaking with your child? So over there in the description, which one most often is used with your child? And sometimes it's split between 2 languages, and that's fine, that's great. So just list them both if you could, please. And then which language is most often spoken between adults in the home? And I'm saying we just want to have an idea about the common language at the home. Okay. Before we get into the next slide, Melinda, I wanted to go ahead and just pause for a second and ask a couple of questions with you. One of them has to do with where does enrollment start? So let's just pretend that I live in the Disney community, but my children go to McKinley. Even though I live at Disney, where do I start? Do I enroll at Disney?
Mhm.
Yeah, you
If
enroll
you
in your
live in the
homeschool.
Disney feed, you enroll in your home school. You will not be able to change schools unless you apply for an intra-district permit. It's an online form that is available 30 days through the district website from February 22nd to March 18th this year. But you have to be enrolled in your homeschool first.
Melinda and I have a common interest in keeping families together. And so there's always a question or a concern that, you know, we don't want children at two separate schools unless you do. So we always call you and talk to you and say, hey, we want to go ahead and provide you an opportunity to have both of your children or all three of your children at the same school. So that's a priority for us too. So we always try to keep families together. There was a question about space availability. And with COVID, things really have been different in TK and in kindergarten. We haven't had the challenges that we had going back 4, 5, 6 years where we were really at capacity and seat availability was pretty cramped and those kind of things. And we filled up pretty easily. So it's hard to predict what will happen due to COVID, but I would just encourage you to go ahead and just go through the process, enroll at your homeschool, and we will do whatever we can do to go ahead and make certain that everyone has a seat at their homeschool and with their family. That's really a priority for us. And so once again, I just wanted to remind everybody that, you know, you're probably aware that Bret Hart has had TK in the past. Jefferson had TK in the past too. We stopped those programs due to capacity and to other opportunities too. And so we're back and we're reopening Bret Hart and Jefferson. Okay. Before I go on, Melinda, I have a question about vaccines that you may be aware of. What if 1 or 2 vaccines, like in a series, aren't complete?
We run into that periodically where, say, someone has fallen behind, perhaps due to COVID or for other reasons, where they have maybe 1 or 2 MMRs, for example, but don't have the third one. If they're able to get it, they need to go and get it somehow. If it's a situation where they just got their second one and your doctor wants to space them out, you get a letter from your physician with the schedule delineated, listed in it that your child is on for vaccines, when they will be getting that next vaccine, that the doctor has to provide in writing on stationery with his signature, and then you would give that to your school nurse for review. And we would put a little note in your student's file to finish enrollment, but to note that they have to get that third shot and when they'll be getting it, and we would follow up with you to make sure they got it. I think that answered it.
There's a interest in the dual immersion program, and next Thursday at 6 o'clock, we'll be having our dual immersion informational meeting. And I think the link has been posted as possibly maybe also the PowerPoint for that meeting too. And if you are interested in the dual immersion program, you still need to start your registration, your enrollment at your home school. And then the process to get into dual immersion is an additional application, okay? But you always start with your home school. You always go ahead and complete enrollment at your home school. And then choices beyond that, contact your school or contact us to go ahead and request like the dual immersion program, or if you're interested in some kind of a intra-district transfer, but do register at your home school. Melinda, on this next slide, it talks about what is capped. We call it capped. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Sure, and I'm sure some parents have heard from other parents as well. We enroll students, as I said, in the order that all of their documentation is received. Once we do that, we look at the class size and see if there is space. we can only have an average of 24 students in our TK through 3 classes. That's still correct, Dr. Knopik, right?
Yes.
Okay. So because of that, for example, and I'm going to pick on Jefferson a little bit just because they've historically been full. We have the kids from Transitional Kindergarten whose home school is Jefferson, so they automatically roll back to Jefferson no matter where they are, to kindergarten there. Once all of those students get in, then new enrollments are handled in the order received, and those students are placed. Once that class gets full, then we put you on a waiting list, and then you're placed at the next available school with space in TK or kindergarten. You will stay on the waiting list until a space opens up. Please do not be discouraged, because throughout the summer, people do tend to come and go in Burbank. And so we may enroll you and place you at Emerson. You're on the waiting list for Jefferson. And we have 5 families that were in TK move out. And then suddenly we have those 5 seats open, and we end up switching you back to Jefferson before school ever starts. So just be patient, but that can happen. That is why it's really important to make sure you have everything you need to enroll and be ready to go as soon as possible. You don't have to be like the first one there on January 24th at 8 o'clock. But if you don't enroll until May or June, you can run a risk of your school being full. So we do encourage you to enroll as soon as possible.
Documentation, Melinda, is that submitted online, or do they bring it to the school?
No, they can't bring it to the school because schools are not having parents visit campuses at this time. So what they will do is one of 2 things. There is an opportunity when they are in the enrollment system to upload those documents off of their computer, to scan them into their computer, take a picture and save it on their computer as a picture, and upload those documents in that process. If they don't do that or can't, they would go to their school site website, and there should be an email on the front page where they can email those documents to the office manager or whomever is handling enrollment at that site. Communication is through email and telephone right now. We did virtual enrollment last year and the year before as well, pretty much. So
Yes.
It's not new. We've got it down to a science, and we are careful to work with our parents.
What if there's a mismatch between like a person's ID and the Burbank Water and Power bill? How does that get?
That's
attended
okay.
to? Yeah.
If they have a Burbank Water and Power bill and their name is on that water and power bill, we take that as proof of residence. I personally, when I moved, did not change my driver's license right away because it wasn't expired. So we don't penalize parents for that.
Just a little bird walk on dual immersion, because the question's being asked. It doesn't matter whether you, let's say, enroll in TK at Disney or TK over at McKinley. It doesn't give you an advantage. We start fresh, and we do a lottery, and we build the 25, 26 seats that we're going to be filling. So our TK through 3 classes are at 24-1. I'm on the slide now. And that's an average, once again, for TK through 3. It could be there's a classroom with 25, but if I have a 25, then I'll have a 23. And that's school by school. And we're very strict about that too. We don't go over. We get penalized and we lose class size reduction funds. And we don't go past capacity on that at all. Grades 4 and 5, we have a cap of 32.5-1. And once again, that's also very strict, and we don't go past that. A school could have a 33, but if I have a 33, then I have to have a 31. So I have to offset it.
One thing I did forget to mention, and I apologize to you, for transitional kindergarten, because we don't have it at all of our school sites, Dr. Kanopic, we still won't have it at Disney, is that
Disney.
correct?
That is correct.
Because if you are a Disney parent and we don't have TK at Disney, you will enroll at Disney, but you will be allowed to pick another school for TK. Actually, it works that way with all TK. You can technically, just for TK, pick a different school when you enroll, but you have to enroll at your school of residence. And your student will automatically roll back to your school of residence for kindergarten. I see some people are raising their hands. We're not going to be able to communicate that way this evening. It's all going to be through the Q&A and through the chat.
And once again, we're answering questions that are generic to the entire group. Anything that's specific to your individual situation, we're not going to be answering in this forum, but you can always email me. You can email the school principals, and my contact information will be at the end of the presentation. Melinda, can you continue with the slide? I had talked about classroom capacity in TK through 5, and now it talks about some other components, just to review on school capacity.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of restates a little bit what I said earlier, that your immunizations need to be completed, or the series has to be begun and verified by your doctor in writing on his stationery or her stationery. When capacity is reached, capped, we will offer you placement at another Burbank school. As a Burbank resident, your student is guaranteed a desk at a Burbank school. So it's never going to be we're at capacity and don't have room for you at all. It just may not be what school you're thinking of at the time. The cap list, the waiting list, is kept in student services. As soon as a spot opens up, we call and email you and give you the choice of what you want to do. If, for example, in my earlier example, you're a Jefferson parent, we placed your student in Emerson Kindergarten, you're on the Jefferson waiting list, and we call you and you decide you really like Emerson, you will have the opportunity to say, no, take me off the waiting list, I'm going to stay at Emerson. And then your student would be okay through 5th grade. We do not force you to move if we've placed you somewhere else, because that was us placing you there versus a choice. But we stay on top of it. We look at numbers all year long. And this late in the year, we don't, move children around, especially with COVID, but we do look at numbers all summer long. It is all we do to try and work with you and get your students enrolled and get
Every
them
day.
accordingly. Yes. Yes, we do.
Melinda, what happens if, let's pretend that I live in the Hart attendance zone today and I enroll at Hart, and then I move to Emerson and school hasn't started yet? What do I do?
You have options. Because all of us, there's a lot of rental, there's a lot of things going on in Burbank where people move around. If you enroll your student in your school of residence, and whether they've started or not, well, let me back up. If they haven't started yet, you would get your current address information and everything to student services, and we would move your child over to your new school of residence if you haven't started yet. If you've already started and they've made little friends at Bret Hart, and you move into Emerson's feeder district, as we call it, you actually have the option just to change your address, again through student services, and keep your student where they are. We do not disrupt children if we do not have to disrupt children, just for an address change. We have more questions, Peter?
One more.
Okay.
What happens if I have a child that attends the Horace Mann Seed program?
Mhm.
where do I go ahead? What do I do at this point in time? Where do I register my child to start?
Starting on January 24th, you are going to enroll your child in your home school. Special education will work with you if your student is in a special program and would be placed at another school because of a special program. We work with special education, and from a computer perspective, we'll just move your child over there. If you are a Horace Mann seed parent where your student is getting speech or something that is at all of our schools, you will enroll at your school of residence. We did hold a Horace Mann presentation, seed presentation before break, but it's a little confusing because some of our seed parents think because they are at Horace Mann that their children are already enrolled, and they are not, because it is a special program versus a school site. So
On this slide, it shows all of our locations for our various elementary schools. There's only one school that does not have TK at this point, and that's Disney. Disney is coming online with a new 2-story building, and that'll be already set to go for the next school year. And right now, we're not offering TK at Disney. If we can go ahead and fit a TK at Disney down the road, we certainly will. But at this point in time for next school year, we are not going to be having it there, unfortunately. I wish we could, but we don't have the capacity right now. On the next slide, just as a reminder that each school has their own site orientations for kindergarten. They're probably going to be virtual, but you'll need to check with your home school and find out when that is going to be scheduled. Some do it in the springtime, like in May. Some do it in June. Some do it in July. So every school is just a little bit different about that. And then it talks about kindergarten site tours. And just to reiterate, the tours will be posted on the school's website, and they will be virtual. And once again, all the site specifics to that school will be talked about in that meeting. We have Stephanie Fields here that's with us from the Around the Bell program, the child care program. And if Stephanie is available, there she is. She'll talk a little bit about Around the Bell. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Fields, the Child Development Coordinator. So I oversee the Around the Bell, the ATB program, and my office also oversees the ACES program. So I'll give you a little bit of information about ATB first and then move on to ACES. So the Around the Bell program is offered at all 11 elementary schools. Our program hours are from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we take students in grades TK through 5th. So it's a weekly cost. Parents pay a weekly fee for their child to be in the program. The fee for a TK through kindergarten age student is currently for this school year, $130 per week. But that fee is subject to change each school year. So if you are interested in having your child attend the Around the Bell before and after school program, there is a wait list. So you would need to contact my office to have your child's name placed on that wait list. Your child's name will be placed on the wait list via the date that you contacted us. It will be put on the wait list of their home school. If you are trying to transfer to another school, you need to let us know because what will happen is we place your child's name originally on their school of residence, their home school. And then once you receive notification that your child has been accepted into the school of choice, then you will need to contact us back so we can move your child's name from the previous list to the new list, the new school of choice, via the same date that you originally contacted us. So my email address is located, I believe, on the back slide, the last page of the slide, but you can always contact the Child Development Office for more information and to have your child's name placed on the wait list.
And Stephanie, you may have said this already. When does enrollment begin for ATB?
Well, what happens with enrollment is because students who are currently enrolled in the program, they receive first priority to re-register for the upcoming school year. And then we typically conduct enrollment for new parents who are on the wait list during the months of June and July. So pending available space, someone from my office would contact you. We would go down the list based on the date that you originally contacted us, and then you would be offered a spot into the program. So typically June and July, we do registration for new parents who are on the wait list.
But to call your office in the meantime, right?
And the same is for ACES. The difference with ACES is only a half-day program, PM only. The hours are from the dismissal of school until 6 p.m. And then it is a free program. Parents do not pay a fee. There is a one-time registration fee that's due at the time of registration. But attendance is a major requirement for this particular program. Students have to attend the program daily because it is a state and federally funded program. So if you're interested in the ACES program, it is located at Disney Elementary, Providencia, Washington, and Luther Middle School if you have a child that will be going into the middle school. So you can also contact my office to have your child's name placed on the wait list now for that program, because the wait list can get pretty full. But for ACES, we are only able to accept students in grades 1st through 5th. So if you have a student that will be going into 1st grade this upcoming school year, make sure to give my office a call and have your child's name also placed on the ACES wait list.
And the ACES program is at which schools? You may have said it.
Disney Elementary, Providencia, Washington, and then any incoming 6th graders for Luther Middle School.
I don't believe I see any more questions posted there right now, Stephanie. So if I do, I'll get back with you.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to point to this slide here that talks about the free reduced price meal program. We like to encourage all of our families to go ahead and apply for free or reduced price meal programs. Our tax money pays for this program, and you may think your family doesn't qualify it, but it's on a sliding scale based on your family income and the number of people at your residence. And so we encourage everyone to take a look at that to see if you qualify for that program too. So please do check that out. And we continue to send out reminders about this program too. On the next slide, it talks a little bit about parent education. So if you're interested in parent education, we do offer parent education through the Burbank Adult School. And then also every school site has their own parent education program. And on the last slide, we have all of our contact information as well as phone numbers here. For me personally, I would encourage you to go ahead and to email me. Email is better than phone, and I am extremely responsive. So please do email me. Your first point of contact though is your school principals and your school sites. They have the information about how to enroll, how to register, and also about specifics to their program. I want to go back to you, Melinda, and ask you a couple of questions. One of the questions has to do with, do we have a school map or something that shows my area of residence and my area school?
Actually, we do. And we also have an interactive map that you can type in your home address and it tells you automatically what your elementary, middle, and high school are. If you go to our district website at Burbank, you know what, can I switch out of the PowerPoint?
Yes,
and
you
share the
can.
district?
Absolutely.
All right,
Be most convenient.
hopefully this will work. All right, I'm gonna share the screen. All right. Hopefully you can see. Can you see?
There we
that
go.
screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can see along the top under parents and students, third one down is attendance boundaries on the drop-down menu. That will have an actual, here, let me see if I change my page, I think you can see it. Give me a minute.
Our internet's been a little wonky today with it being down early.
It's
this
been an
morning, so-
adventure, everyone. I'm sorry, but you can see
Yes.
if you, there we go. Did it switch? And it's still not loading. But if you go to this page, there's a master directory by street, which is like a PDF file. You can look up your address. There's a school boundary map. And in this square, which is not loading right now, is an interactive map where you can actually type in your address. And it will show you what your school of residence is based on the current district boundaries that are there. That's the easiest way for you to do it, especially if you're looking to move to Burbank or you're going to be relocating within Burbank. A lot of people find this page, which actually works most of the time, helpful.
I have a question about out of district enrollment. How do people go about registering, enrolling for Burbank schools when they are not Burbank residents, but they do qualify for a
An
Burbank?
interdistrict permit.
Yes.
So I'm going to click on this, even though it's this year. Let's see if the page will change for me.
And there you saw that
gonna-
map that came up, that interactive map.
The map just finally came up. Yes, of course it did when I was changing pages. Most information, by the way, that a lot of you are asking about, if you go under departments into student services, into the student services page, you're going to find a lot of quick references. But interdistrict permit applications, we don't start accepting them until March 2nd. And when we do, you will click on the link for inter-district permits and be able to be directed to this page only for the 22-23 school year, and be able to apply either online by uploading your documents or printing out the application, completing it, and scanning and emailing it with all of your completed documents. You're going to need the application, letter from your employer with current pay stubs. And if your student is older than kindergarten, you're going to need something from their existing school to show their grades, attendance, and discipline. We take the packets, we timestamp them, and it is first come, first serve. It's very different than intra-district permits for residents, because those are dependent on space and are a lottery. Inter-district permits are first come, first serve, and depend on space. We evaluate space all summer long. So you may not think you're going to get into Burbank, and then you get a phone call in July to say, we have room. We also encourage you to stay enrolled or enroll in your home school district in case we say no or are unable to honor your request. So you can contact student services for any questions you have on inter-district permits. Those go through the district office.
We have a question about health examinations. Are they required to begin school?
Now you're asking me nursing questions. At one time, a complete physical examination was required, I believe, for first grade.
Years
I am
ago?
not, is it still?
No.
Okay. See, I don't know. I apologize to you.
Vaccinations.
Nursing is, our nurses are really slammed right now, and we were not able to have one attend this evening.
We
I would
normally do,
contact
but
your
however,
school site.
yes.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Do we have a limitation on the number of schools someone can apply for an intra-district transfer?
No, I have actually had a parent apply for every school except their school of resident 1 year. I'm sorry, people do, and it's fine. You just need to make sure you fill out it'll be a separate application for every single school. And when we offer you space at one school, you have to say yes or no to that space so we could give it to someone else. And that makes it tricky because say you're really hoping to get into school X and we offer you 3 other schools and you say no, then you could end up getting stuck at or being placed at your school of residence and not moving. So please consider that before you fill out multiple applications.
So we do provide childcare through many programs at the elementary schools and the Boys and Girls Club, the Around the Bell program. The ACES program is for grades 1 through 6 actually at certain schools, but we're asking everyone that if you're interested in those programs to go ahead and contact those individual organizations, Boys and Girls Club of Burbank, and then the ASD is through Parks and Recreation program too, and the YMCA has their own program too. They do have sliding scales at some of these organizations, and so if you're looking for some kind of assistance in that area, do talk to them about your private personal business and they can assist you with that too.
So that you are aware, if under student services, you click on the 22-23 enrollment information, which this link will be on the front page tomorrow as well. You're going to read all of the information, but you're going to say, how do I enroll? Beginning January 24th at 8 a.m., there will be a giant blue Enroll Now button at the top of this page, and you will be able to click and proceed with enrollment. What other questions do we have? I know there have to be more.
On the last slide, we have our contact information. And so I want to encourage you once again to go ahead and to use that contact list to go ahead and email questions to folks and or call the office. So when it comes to the AT program in particular, if you had a question about that, you can call the office, you can email there on the contact information that was listed for childcare. So I know that's a common interest for everyone, so. And then Melinda, I'm sorry, you popped out of the district page.
And there was a question.
Yeah, there was a question about, can you just kind of do a quick, easy walkthrough on where to enroll your child for the first time?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually jump over to 21-22 enrollment because nothing on this page other than information is active right now. Nothing on this page will be active until January 24th. It's just information. This is also the page where you will find this video posted after I upload it to YouTube in the morning. And the kindergarten PowerPoint is on this page as well. But let me pop over to, let's pretend that enrollment is active right now. You will see a giant button. Where is it? Where's my button? Uh-oh. Nothing's working for me today. I am so sorry. Okay, let me try something different. Aries is our enrollment system. I will tell you, you do not want to go in this way to enroll. Okay. Hang on just a second. I'm not really sure why this is not. I wanted to show you something nice and I can't.
But the button.
There it is. Oh, there we
There
go. I apologize to all of you. We have it, our internet is, and fiber optics have been a lot of fun today. So on the 22-23 page, starting January 24th, you're going to see this big blue button at the top of the page. Say I'm enrolling a new student. I'm going to click on it. And hopefully it will load. There we go. And you will get to this page to say welcome to Aries Online Enrollment. It will restate everything required for you to enroll your student, what language you prefer, and you'll click on Enroll a New Student at the bottom of the page. You're going to select the year. And right now you see that the only year available is 21-22. On January 24th, you will see 21-22 because the school year is not over yet. There will also be a 22-23 option, and that is what you will click. Once you do that, I'm only going to get so far in this. I'm sorry. Once you do that, you will click on it, and then it's going to go on again to tell you your required information that you have to provide. Okay, and you'll keep hitting next. And then it's going to ask you to create an account, just like everything in this entire world does. You are going to have to create a new account. It is going to send you an email notification to confirm your account, and then you'll be able to log in and finish the enrollment process. I can't go any further, honestly, because I don't have an account. My children graduated. But it's basic fill in the blank, checking boxes. It's very self-explanatory. And you will be given a section where it will allow you to upload PDFs or JPEG files off of your computer for your supporting information.
Like immunization records.
Immunization records, your bank water and power bill, your picture ID, prior school records if you have them, those types of things.
And it doesn't necessarily, just once again, so it's come up again, doesn't necessarily have to be the yellow immunization card. It could be like the electronic version that like Kaiser Permanente provides as an example. Okay. At this point in time, I'm not seeing any more significant questions. Once again, our contact information is there. We're very accessible. Do give us some time though, to be honest with you, even though I say we're accessible and those kind of things, with COVID and with demands that are happening right now, our time is a little bit taxed right now for all of us. So if we seem a little not responsive, we don't mean to be, but it's just we are handling a number of projects, kind of like this morning, like I was sharing at the beginning of it, where we had our phone system went down, our internet went down, our email went down, and now we still are experiencing a little bit of wonky internet access too. So we will be posting this presentation on the website. The website goes active on the 24th of January. I would like to encourage you that if you have questions, please don't hesitate to call us. Call the school site in particular, because they also can provide you with the information. So that's probably your best point of contact in the beginning too. And things that are unique to your family situation too, we do want to go ahead and be responsive to you. We don't want to do it in a public forum, but do go ahead and feel comfortable to go ahead and contact me or the school sites, and we'll put you in contact with the most appropriate person to respond to that question. Okay. With that, I'm going to wish everyone have a good evening, and thank you for being here. Take care. Thank you to Anna and Nuria for their translations, Melinda for her expertise in enrollment procedures, Stephanie with her expertise with the childcare program that we offer through the district, and through Dr. Anders, who helped to set up this webinar too. Okay, thank you all and have a good evening.